Alright everybody, this is Steve coming to you with another deck profile. Today we had a double case tournament at Eternal Games in Chesterfield. And we had 25 players and I got top four, fourth place. Shout out to Team Crisis and shout out to Max, Jeff, everybody that hosted and ran the tournament. They did a great job with everything, making sure that things went smoothly. I did play pure Mitsurugi, and I will say most of it was inspired by Joshua Schmidt's Nationals topping list. I think it was the French National, but I put a few little twists on it. Getting started, we have main deck. It's 43 cards, 3 hobby carry, without debate. Like, this is a custom card. I don't know why they made this, but while it's legal, and at 3, I'm gonna play it. Pretty much gets your entire engine started. It makes the engine be splashable in other decks because it's essentially a 1-card combo. And what's Yu-Gi-Oh without 1-card combos, right? Next we have 2 and 1. I tend to side the second one out a lot, but for the main deck, going first or going second, if you open this with Mitsurugi Ritual, you can play through a lot of things like Troll. You can also play through Fula a lot better because you're not having to ritual summon this from the deck. You can just summon it straight from the hand and combo off from there. Futsu, one of the best cards in this deck by far. Would not cut it. For the little guys, 3, 1, 1, 1. 3 because I like the consistency of seeing this plus prayers in the opening hand, and getting to do that helps you play through Droll so much. You can get Droll in your main phase 1 and not even care. This is obviously needed to grab Spell. Sometimes you can grab Magatama or Mirror if your hand calls for it, but most times you're just searching Mitsurugi Ritual. This is one of your key recycling tools. If this gets banished, the game becomes that much harder for you to play in a grind. And this is really a grind deck. Like, you're not really trying to push for 8K too often, but sometimes you can. This, I didn't have this in my list before, but I think it's essential to have it in there, because it lets you essentially not only chain block, obviously, but in hands where you draw it, obviously you won't get its effect off of Prayer's Tribute, but you will be able to do some chain blocks if you have this plus Hobby Carry. And I did do that once today, I believe, just to make sure that my Saji didn't get ashed. And that's all for the monsters. Very small monster lineup, but each one basically gets you to another card, so they replace themselves, which I like about this deck. For spells, 3, 3, 3 in the mirror to go with it, and 1 Magatama. So, gotta play 3 of this in pure. I would suggest playing more copies in other variants, because seeing this plus your rituals just makes life easier for you. This, you don't have to explain, this card is insane. This plus any Mitsurugi name it's just really, really broken. Like, you don't know how good it is until you actually get to resolve it. Even if they Ash or Bell this, you still get a search off of any one of these outside of Serpent, obviously. And yeah, this just does it all for you. Pre-prep with this package, not only does it help you ritual summon more, but it can also help you chain block Murakumos that you tribute off of prayers on their turn. A lot of people like to hold their Ash or try to hold their Bells, and then you just do this chain link too, and pretty much foils all that. This card, honestly, I was playtesting with it online, and I didn't realize how good the second effect was to a ritual summon on their turn. You have to be aware of all your game states when you play, and this card helps you maintain awareness of what you need to do. It's spot removal, or it can help you turn weird hands. Let's say you get Droll and you didn't have a way to play, but you put a ritual on board that wasn't this. You can do Magatama Tribute the one on field summon this, chain block the Raigeki, and you set up a pseudo Omni, which I couldn't ask for more from the card. This actually won me a game against Raizu, because I was able to tribute Murakumo, pop their cross, bring back Murakumo, and wipe their board. And without that card, I would have lost that match, or that game, I should say. Probably the match too. And one trap. Usually people side deck this, but I wanted to test maining it today, and it feels so good to have this in, whether you get to go first or second, because sometimes you can break their board, kind of put up a half board, and then get this off of a tributed Habakiri, sometimes a Saji if you didn't need to search Mitsurugi Ritual. And having this puts Murakumo pretty much solidifies games, so would not take it out. That's pretty much the Mitsurugi engine. Now for the non-engine. 3 Droll, 3 Fua, 3 Perulia, 3 Impulse. If you're not playing these 12 cards, at least these 9. If you're not playing these 9 here, you're not putting yourself in the best position to win. I definitely feel like these are all essential. Each one of them came up for me today. They either force half boards, force your opponent to stop searching, put their deck down, because I don't like when people pick their deck up. That's usually when bad things are happening, is when they're picking their deck up a lot. So put your deck down. You can keep playing if you want, but most times they don't. They might make a half board depending on the match. And then this card is crazy. Like, I didn't believe in Impulse's ability prior to this format, but having it, being able to play it, I'm a full believer in the power of that card. As long as I played this deck, that card is staying in at 3 every time. And then for lower impact, we have 3 Ash. I like Ash because not only does it deal with Charmies, but in certain game states, if you're able to set up plus have this in your hand, you can essentially force half boards out of them and then just on the crackback kill them. So I do like that card. I don't know if I'll keep maining it, but I enjoyed it for today. And 1 talents and Spice to go with that, 2 Thrusts and Banquet of Millions. So these were the extra 3 cards that I put in my deck. Normally I just keep it at that 40, but today I felt like there would be a lot of decks that needed their extra deck, and most players, what I was saying about those 9 hand traps, they generally play those cards in their deck too. So this was live majority of the day. And when it was live, I was able to set this, which, if you don't know what this does, you banish any number of cards from your extra deck face down. Most of the time, it's all 15. I just slap them down, banish them face down forever, and they have to banish the same number face up. So against Malice, it's a turn skip. Against Lunalight, it's pretty much a turn skip. The only deck that it really doesn't turn skip is Pure Mitsu, because we don't need our extra deck. That's why I'm able to play it. But in some cases, you can catch the Ryziel deck, Anamat Ryziel, Fiendsmith Ryziel. You can hit all Fiendsmith cards for that turn. You just want to get your turn back. If they troll you, you don't care about mulch armies, so they're really irrelevant. But if they use them, this is there to punish them. You can also grab this off of talents. You can grab another card that's in my side deck. You can also grab Impulse or this, which I did set these when I was going against a matchup where Banquet wasn't good. I sided this out, but kept these in, set these, and they came up. So, yep, Thrust is a very good card, and I will use it as long as it's legal. Alright, that was the main deck, 43 cards. Extra deck really doesn't matter. I used to play Prosperity, or not Prosperity, but Extravagance in the main. That was the thing that I got from Joshua Smith, was playing 2 of those, but I realized I don't need that card. It plays in the draw more than I care for it to, and it's a random 6 that I banish. Sometimes I want a certain card in my extra deck, so I enjoy just playing one of. So IP, Dynamondo, SP, Dart, these are the only links you play. I think Josh was playing 2 of each just for Prosperity, but not Prosperity, I keep saying it, Extravagance, but I decided that if I'm not going to play anything that banishes from the extra deck blank randomly, then I don't need to play multiples of anything. That's probably the only exceeds that I truly make in this deck. I do sometimes summon this guy, especially in a mirror match. He comes up to banish Kusanagi's, banish live Murakumos, put them on early prayers when they really didn't want to do it. It also comes up against other decks where you just need to banish a key piece from their engine. That comes up every now and again. You really don't need this, but in some cases where you want to search a Murakumo, and you don't want to search it through a Tribute and Habakiri off, then you can go for this. It really doesn't come up a lot. This, I will say, this would have helped me in prior tournaments, but I wasn't playing it because I have the extra space minus these duplicates. Now I can play one, and it comes up when it comes up, but it's definitely good to have. This, just as a generic board wipe, usually you're only making 1 rank 4 in a turn, maybe 2 if the situation calls for it, but you usually don't get that many 4s on the board. So this is why I just wanted to make sure I had options that covered all bases for me. Obviously, like I said, going first, this probably be the one that I make the most. Dugaris to help push over big monsters. Tornado Dragon, this comes up in combination with this card a lot, because sometimes you just need to spot removal of back row, push into a monster and then do this and then wipe everything. And then Typhon and Cowboy, neither one came up. I did summon this once, but I lost anyway. Really didn't help me out of the jam, and this is for whenever time gets low, but we never had that problem. I think for the most part I would keep this extra deck how it is, but there might be some changes I make going into next. We'll see. Um, and then finally, the side deck. Most of this was just kind of fishbowling, but I think no going forward, I might sub some cards out from this. So these aren't going anywhere though. As long as Malice is a deck, as long as Crystron's a deck, as long as even now Lunar Light, sometimes this can come up against them to stop their Miracle Fusions plays. Um, it can help you prevent getting double Liger Dancer, which if you don't have an immediate out, it's probably game on sight. So you can always put this in to try to combat that. These they're good into like Mitsurugi and other decks. You can use them in key spaces against Malice. I'm I'm not really sure if I even want to play those, but for going forward. But I think you gotta have them because they definitely come in handy to make sure that certain cards like Wizard don't get to summon other cards that people still play Fiend Smith, people still play Blue Eyes. So you definitely want to have respect for those decks because if you don't, they could steamroll you and give you an early tournament exit. So at least 3. I might bump Baldrake up to 2 or put in a Sar in there, but we'll see. I don't need my grave, but a lot of decks do. So I know it's at 43, so the odds of seeing it are less, but it's there. If it comes up, it comes up. Still a broken card. That's why I said 1. This is my side deck out, and this is one of the reasons why I love this deck into Lunalight, because if you can just force them into a single Liger, you can do things like Prayer's Tribute, Aramasa Chain Block, and then you can just Wosu it away. You might still have to deal with some other cards on their board, but chances are you just want to get the Liger off board, and then that'll at least give you a chance to feel safe. Because without doing that, you might lose on the spot. One Nib, I decided not to main deck it because Nib really didn't feel good at all. There was never a time today where I needed a Nib to really do anything, and oftentimes people had play arounds for it. So I do put it in going first games 2 or 3, just so I can gallon granted it, because it behind the board does make a difference, but it by itself or even in combination with certain hand traps, it's just not enough. And one Duster. I just wanted something to cover trap decks. Because of Thrust, I could search it. So, depending on what a lot of decks do, this could come up. It would have won me a game if my opponent didn't have Ash for my Thrust, because I was definitely going to search that. He had like 5 set or 4 set, and I got through his counter trap already, but he had the Ash, so didn't matter. And then for my going first cards, so one Callbind, I don't think I need it in the main deck. I really don't care for it in the main deck. It's better as a card to push through Droll, force them to have 2, push through Mulch Armies. I may not even care to call by their Mulch Army depending on my hand, because I could just give them 1 draw and just be fine with that. Most people would suggest to main deck this, but I didn't want to bump the deck up to 44, and I really felt like Prosperity going second didn't feel like the best card for me. I'd rather have a 9-engine card in this space. So that's why that's there. This card here, it has a lot of good applications against meta decks right now, namely in Lunalight for a lot of the weaknesses of their monsters. You can hit Malice really good with it. You can hit some Rhizio names. You're not hitting ice, but you at least get to see their hand, and probably that's the most important part is the hand knowledge. I think most cards are on the forbidden list because hand knowledge is broken. So um, did not resolve it today, but I would probably keep it in moving forward. And last but not least, two judgment. Um, could have had I could have made room for a third, but I felt like having purification kind of served as the third judgment, so didn't really feel the need for it. It came up once, but still lost that match because I was basically using it as a defensive card instead of a offensive card in a way. And yeah, I think I would keep it in. I'm not exactly sure. I might sub it out for Warning because Warning does have a lot more applications to me, and definitely in this format. But other than that, that was my side. And yeah, shout outs to everybody that participated today. Shout outs to my boys, and shout outs to God and my family. All right, this is Steve signing out. Peace.